Hey there guys, it is me, Alex Swingle, and today I am going to be going over 10 games that I think are awesome for the PS2 with a nice budget price of about $10 or less in the used category. Alright, so first up, these are going to be a variety of different types of genres. You got some shooters, some RPGs, some puzzle strats. No sports titles, because I always get enough hate from people saying like, "Oh, no more Maddens." I can get Madden 2002 to 2008. There's your top 9 or 10 list at least. Um, so here you go. Number one, Summoner 2. Now, the first game had the Summer 2 game follows off the previous game Summer 1. Um, and the thing that is really neat about this version, at least compared to the original, is that it is much easier to follow what is going on in this game. In the first one, you have to do a lot of, you need to write down a lot of notes just so you can remember where exactly you need to go to. This one rewards a little bit more of your time by making it to where wherever you at, just keep going forward, and you'll eventually get to the next area that you need to go to. This is a third-person live, a third-person real-time role-playing game. Similar, it's kind of like a hack and slash a little bit. It's definitely not turn-based. It uses a D-pad button combo system to do special abilities, as well as different animations for combo arts, which makes it very satisfying to play because it actually rewards engagement, which is why I love the first game so much. But with the first game's flaws, this one they definitely improved on actually understanding where you need to go and what to complete. This took about 30 hours to beat, and I only did about 1 to 2 hours of grinding. It definitely does not promote the old trope of light JRPGs where you have to sit there and grind away. Highly recommend it. It is a load of fun. All of the characters are not only tolerable, but I like them. You have a generic wizard who's from the first game. But other than that, like the main character is like Xena Warrior Princess type, but again, not annoying. And all in all, yeah, I would really recommend you guys pick this up. Goes for about $7 used. That's the average price I saw both on eBay and Amazon. And now the second one. This one's really hard to get, at least for the price point, because it teeters around $9 to $10 used when you include shipping. And that is Star Ocean Till the End of Time. Now, this by itself is a really great RPG. It is a real-time RPG. It is very similar to the Tales of series, like Tales of Destiny, Tales of Fantasia, in which you press X for a quick attack, a circle for a heavy attack. Well, at least there's a light and heavy attack followed by skill combinations. So it's a little bit more advanced than the previous game, Star Ocean Second Story. And it has a hell of a plot twist near the end of the first disc. The the only issues this game has, at least from when I played it, and why it is not the most sought after version of Star Ocean, is that the skill system devolved quite a bit in comparison to the Star Ocean Second Story on the PlayStation 1, and it has a fourth wall breaking plot twist at the end of Disc 1, which all the Star Ocean games had a whoa, this is just got way over my head. I was used to doing a fantasy hack and slash kind of game, and now it just got really trippy. So as long as you prepare your mind for that, it is lovely. There are many cool characters to get in the game. My favorite was this little boy who often did like a head bash. I forgot his name, but the voice acting was really well done when they did do voices, like for battle sound effects, things like that. All in all, really fun game to play. There's a ridiculous number of achievement challenges to try and require you to, encourage you to replay the game multiple times. But just this by itself, I would recommend giving it a go through. It took me like close to 50 hours to beat, and I was nowhere even near done completing it. But I did quite a bit of few things. The crafting system is also really, really good. Uh, it's not as again, it's not as advanced as the Star Ocean Second Story edition, the previous one, but it is a really good one nonetheless because you hire craftsmen in order to speed up, make things easier, maybe even cost less, different variables, and there's a lot of secrets that I would pretty much recommend getting a strategy guide at this point because some of them are just like, how the heck would you figure this out? Like a lot of the Final Fantasy games. But yeah, it goes around $9 to $10 used, and if you can get it for that price, get it. It is a good deal for $10. Now the third game is Winback 2 Project Poseidon. The This series is kind of controversial, at least for quality of good. There's the first game, Winback Covert Operations, for the PS1 and 64, and it uses the same type of control scheme as the first game for the second game. The major difference is there is a massive revamp in the graphics and also the production values as a whole. The graphics look really nice. The sound quality is excellent, and this is a Koei game. It's Japanese. I don't understand these things, um, but jokes aside, the sound, the voice actors are really well done. There's none of the standard awful like high pitch. Where this is my voice, and because that happens so often in the Dynasty Warrior, Samurai Warrior series, that it was really painful. Um, and this one has a really cool twist to it. As long as you can get over that aiming system, um, the boss battles are also very difficult because they don't really have the damage reaction that that you get when you get hit. So those make those boss fights really difficult. Uh, Besides that, the gameplay, which is what I really like about it and why I recommend you getting it. This one's really cheap, by the way. It goes for about $6 shipped. I've seen that many times on some eBay listings and some Amazon listings. And the thing that is righteous about this one is that instead of just playing one stage progression, you play the stage as multiple characters. There's 3 different characters that you play as in this game. You you play the same stage multiple times in the perspective of the agent, the FBI SWAT dude, during the stage that you're playing. So you'll have it to where it's like, okay, we need this chick and the black dude. You two are going to be doing a mission together. You need to work together and accomplish this task. So it had a very satisfactory feeling for team effort of seeing the plan go together, see it go in motion. The um, the first mission as a good example of how this function wasn't just a cheap excuse to lengthen the gameplay value. In the first stage, the one that you are playing as, the partner is being overwhelmed, being flanked by the enemy. You have the option to help them, and if you do it in a specific way, which is by throwing a flashbang, you get bonus points, and when you play the game as that person the next time, after you finish that portion of the stage, it ends up automatically succeeding for that character the previous action of throwing the flashbang and blinding them for a few seconds to help you get a few easy kills. And that happens quite often throughout all of this game, and that is why it was a really fun game to play. Story is very meh, nuclear bomb, great catastrophe. It's called Poseidon because it's like a hydrogen-based bomb or water-based one. But anyways, doomsday plot device, standard mode of affair, third-person shooter, and a kind of difficult aiming system, but once you get used to it, it's a really fun game. Just from the atmosphere alone, was really well done. And yeah, that's what I gotta say about Winback 2. It's definitely worth picking up. This one is going to be my most controversial pick. As in it's hated by many, but it has some really cool features, and that is Battlefield 2 Modern Combat. This was labeled in Game Crazy stickers, but the game itself, it got a lot of flack because it is nowhere near as good as the PC version of Battlefield 2, Modern Combat. The issues with this one is in order to deal with the fact that multiplayer connections was not that good during the PS2 era. It had internet capability, but it wasn't reliable. They just didn't really have the funds, the resources to dedicate to it. So instead, they have it to where it's mainly meant for single player. There is multiplayer option, but again, multiplayer doesn't really work anymore because it's PS2. So I'm going strictly based off single player response to this. What they decided to do instead is that you press the square button, I think, when you highlight over one of your allies, and then you take over their body. And you gain perspective of the camera angle that they would, as if you were a normal player, and you gain their abilities, things like that, and you have to complete the mission. Now, the reason why this is great is because it's a first-person shooter, and it's also a strategy game. It's a lot. There's a lot of strategy involved in this one because you often have to switch roles as the missions develop. There might be new encounters like, oh no, tanks are here. You're gonna need to teleport, possess a tank guy and start shooting some missiles off. Things like that, And I remember I put about 10 hours into this one, and then I spent quite a few times doing the challenges because the challenges were very engaging. This is how this game almost becomes like a puzzle game, especially if you do the challenges, because some of them are puzzles where you have to do it in a very specific order, and you also have to get good, and show some skills involved. So, uh, as much flack as this game got, especially if you are willing to forgive that this is not a carbon clone copy of the PC version, you will really enjoy this. It has the negative flaw besides not being the same as the PC version is that it also has the same level up system to gain to improve your weapons, to improve your abilities. So I figure I don't really think that it was quite useful. They should have just given you everything from the get-go and maybe ramped up the difficulty a bit. Because you sometimes have to grind a few missions to unlock the new things. That's the only real things I think are bad about this game. But this game is so loathed by people. You can often get this between $4 to $5 used. That's shipping included, by the way. All the prices that I say are shipping included. But yeah, I would definitely recommend that. Now, this one's definitely a big favorite of mine. I don't hear not enough love talked about this one. That is Metal Arms Glitch in the System. Now, this is a third-person shooter, kind of mostly a platformer as well. Um, if you have ever played Ratchet and Clank, this is very similar gameplay. The thing that I loved about this game is that you play as a newfound robot, one that was just thrown away in the scraps, and the rebellion army that you get recruited by revive you. And turns out at least the character that you're playing is a old relic of the original Robot Wars, and yeah, it's good times. The weapons are very satisfying. There is quite a bit of variety, and there's your machine gun, your shotgun, rocket launcher, but then there's there's a rail gun, there's a saw blade gun. There's I think there's like 12 guns. Um, yeah, it just shows a few of these on here, but I think there's more. Okay, 17 weapons. You know, I'm cheating. Look in the back of the box. But I really enjoyed this one. It has some great humor. The especially the parts, and it has quite a few puzzle missions too, where you have to play as different characters and manipulate a very specific new weapon, such as the control tether, where you take over a robot suit. Um, but yeah, all the level designs were really well done too. I had no complaints pretty much throughout the entire game. There's two driving missions, and I don't know why they added those, but I guess just for some variety. You can use the vehicles in multiplayer, but again, this is mainly a local multiplayer, so they did allow for split screen, but it's kind of boring, with just two people, even though it's only allowed for two people. But like this game is definitely worth playing through the story mode. You get bonus skins for the multiplayer, for doing good. So not really worth doing. But all in all, you get it for like that's another one where it's like $5 to $6 shipped. I would recommend anyone get that. And now this one, number 6, is Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now, most TV game based, TV show based games are awful. They're really, really bad. They're usually like some party game or some collect the shinies platformer, but this one is special because this one is actually a hack and slash RPG. And that one surprised me when I bought this game because I don't need to go for the stories, but like I grabbed this on a whim, and I was really pleasantly surprised by it. The only sad part about this game is just like all the other Avatar Last Airbender games, it only goes off like the first book, like the first 2, 3 books or whatever in the show's plot line. So the sequels left this format. They never went back to the RPG elements, and the graphics are really well done. They don't go overboard on the cell shading. Meanwhile, like the sequel Burning Earth, I think it's called, they went heavy on it and it didn't look anywhere near as good because there was also a lot of clipping in the animations. This one, not so much. So I would highly recommend this one, especially for kids. They will love this quite a bit. And me as a semi-adult when I played it, I was like 19 at the time. Um, I definitely felt like I got my money's worth. This one is again not loved by many, so you will be able to get this one between $4 to $5 used free shipping. Definitely worth the price of admission for this one. I would definitely play it. Takes a while too. Took me close to like 15 hours to beat because there are some sections where I did a little bit of grinding to get like to get some really good equipment. But other than that, not really required. This one's really good here, number 7, and that is Ring of Red. This one is a borderline $10 game as well. It goes for like around between 8 to 10 used free shipping. This is a turn-based strategy game with when you get into combat becomes a real-time strategy game. I loved this game a lot. It has two main flaws that you have to be wary of, and that is when you are in combat mode. When you go into the menu to select your ability, the ability animation removes the time that your soldiers can interact to damage the targets. So if you really want to manipulate the game, like not get hurt if you're playing defensive, you can spam that like no one's business and prevent your soldiers from dying as easily. And the other part is it has permadeath for each mission. So quite often you will be like 20 minutes in and you will need to restart because bad combination of teammates, did not get lucky. Um, you really have to test yourself on a strategic level for this one. But once you read the manual and figure out exactly like the best combinations for the mech types, some mechs do more damage short range to vehicles. The other enemy mechs, some do it when you're medium range. Some are more effective against soldiers, like at short range or something like that. So it definitely rewards you for actually reading and the manual, because it doesn't tell you as much information when you're playing the actual game. This was an early launch title because it was the blue discs, the blue CDs, when those were coming around. Yeah, I have a lot of positive things to say about this game. Like the feel, the atmosphere, it was really well done. The premise is that you are part of a ragtag group of elite soldiers, as with all Japanese games, and your goal is to do secret special Soviet operations, not really Soviet, uh, based on playing based off the premise that World War II never ended. So this is an alternative timeline period, although that really doesn't change anything. None of the characters are annoying, which is why I love it so much. Oftentimes, a bad character can really mess up the flow of a game, and this one was lovely to play. So, highly recommend it if you're into strategy games. Like if you're into Front Mission 3, 4, games like that, you will greatly love this. So, again, this one's very close to the above $10 range, but you can get it often between $8 to $10 shipped. This one has always been my favorite. I had to get a game copy, GameStop copy, so it's the generic case, but it's Red Faction. Now the Red Faction 1, at least, there was the PC version, and then there was the console version, which was for PS2. Now, for the PS2 edition, I think that is the best version. While there is the trade-off of not having as much clipping distance when you are blowing up materials with your rocket launchers, and there's also a few scenes that they took out compared to the PC version. I personally feel like those edits, such as not being able to pilot a flying ship, I think in one of the sand missions or something like that, they prolong the main enjoyments of those levels. So I feel like there was more of a hindrance than a positive. And the guns, the main reason why I love the PS2 version is the guns. In the PC version, there's very little recoil, so it feels like these are super high tech guns that uh, the rebels should be embarrassed if they do not beat the Ultron, the corporation. They should be embarrassed if they don't beat them, because that's how good the guns are. Meanwhile, in the PS2 version, there is a lot of recoil, and the screen actually shakes to give the bigger impression, to give the impression that you're actually the person firing the gun, that you're reacting to like how much this thing just shaking like your entire body across the screen. And it is very satisfying to shoot with all the weapons, as well as use the explosives to open holes in walls, things like that. I played this game a lot just from the multiplayer, because the multiplayer has bots. So you can play with 2 players. I think you can play up to 4 with the multiport, but can't confirm. I know you can at least play with 2, followed by with bots. So I would definitely recommend the heck out of it. You get that game, especially for some multiplayer, because there's quite a few really good levels like Warlord. Um, and the story itself, about halfway, it gets kind of corny, and the ending is not really satisfactory. But the beginning half of that game, when things are going down, and you're really needed by the rebellion, it's good stuff. It's top stuff. That one is also not highly desired by people for some reason, so you can often get that for $4. I have bought Red Faction about 4 different times already for that price range, often to give it to friends, because is the gift that keeps on giving for fun times. Now, the number 9 is another one of these GameStop boxes, but it is Kessen. Now, the Kessen 1, 2, and 3 can be obtained for the price of $10 on the PS3, the PlayStation Store. The but if you're really, but you can get at least the second game for $5. Well, sorry, $9 shipped. The third game for like about $10 to $11 shipped. But Kessen 1 you can get for $4 shipped, and all three of them have wide differences in how they play. Um, and if I were to have honorable mentions, I would say get all of them. Get 1, 2, and 3. But the reason why I picked number 1 out of the entire lot, why I recommend it, it is a strategy game. It's semi-real time, because the reason why I say semi-real time is if you are moving, if you're trying to select different armies from your character list off to the side, it stops the gameplay completely, which is nice. But oftentimes, what you'll have to do is you'll have to just not do anything. You'll have to stand still and wait for the right moment to actually move around and pay attention to the guy you want to do special abilities with. But the reason why I love this game so much, this was another one of those early launch titles, and they got the atmosphere 100% down. It is super serious business. Like, we don't mess around. This is war we're talking here. During the I think it's Ieyasu Tokugawa, which was right after Nobunaga's fall. Well, not right after, but during the time period um, where it was during the unifying, the warring states. Uh, and Tokugawa was one of the major influences in unifying Japan completely. So it was a really cool story to learn. It was much more factually accurate than any of the Dynasty Warriors or Samurai Warriors series, because it's made by the same company again, that Koei. And it is definitely worth playing just from, it looks really impressive, especially for an early launch PS2 game. And on top of that, the characters are, I loved a lot of the main cast members. One of my favorite sayings is, because you get to do a lot of really cool, both effective strategies and visually appealing strategies, because you have to have some flair in this entertainment, for a strategy game. And my favorite one was the cannonade, the volley, the ambush tactics, and especially the duels. You have to be very careful because only certain heroes were really skilled at being able to do a duel, and but certain characters such as I forgot what his initial name was, but it was something Honda, and it was so awesome because each character has their own customized lines for when they do a duel, and the Honda guy, he points his spear out, gives the guy the business, and then he says, "Let my humble fury be a passage to hell." And I was like, mind blown. It was really cool. Um, it has limited replay value after you get done playing, at least the first time around, and there's not too much modification of strategy when you start each level. You can do a few things, but there's really not much else to do. It's all about timing your skills and where you order them to go during the fights. That's where it really matters. So it definitely rewards player skill versus grinding your way to get the right abilities or lucking out. And that's why I really enjoy that one. It's a very cinematically appealing version of the Kessen series, and that's why I would recommend that out of all three of them. Kessen 2 would be ranked number 2, and Kessen 3 because Kessen 3 does not play anything close to the first two. It's pretty much its own separate game. That's also a lot of fun. But yeah, recommend all three of them. I would recommend Kessen 1 the most. And that goes for, again, $4 to $5 because for some reason it just doesn't get a lot of love. I think it's because it has limited replay value. That's the main reason. But it's definitely worth keeping. And then the last one, which I don't have anymore, so I can't show you the box and go like, oh, look at this, visually appealing. And that is Puzzle Quest, Challenge of the Warlords. This one is a match 3 game. It was very popular when it first came out, but doesn't really seem to have a lot of flair anymore. There's a lot of interest for people to pick it up. But if you're a fan of Tetris or any of these matching puzzle games, you will enjoy this like none other. This one is so cheap you can get it brand new for $4. That's how much people don't want it. I own the PC version of this game, so that's why I also can vouch some more. There's no changes between the DS version, the PC version, and the PS2 version. You can select 4 different classes, and the main difference between all these is what kind of abilities, what kind of focus they go for. Like for example, the paladin class, your goal is to stack up, I think, yellows and stars, the purple stars in the game, the different resources, and then that's how you do damage based on how many you have when you activate the damage dealing abilities. And each class has a different focus point on what colors to go for, and also what kind of neat abilities they have on the side. But that one, yeah, it's a match 3 puzzle game. If you get 4 or more in a row, you get to go again, for a bonus turn. So the idea is that you're rewarded for doing well and getting the combos right to begin with. And then on top of that, based on which class you get, what equipment you find, what runes, you get bonus abilities off to the side. You get to select 5 or 6 abilities, and all of them cost points. Meanwhile, like yellow energy, blue energy. Meanwhile, your equipment is usually passive upgrades. Like you start out with 4 more yellow, or you get +2 to your cunning, I think, where you get a higher amount of gold when you match gold coins in the game. So yeah, if you are a fan of those kind of match 3 puzzle games, my mom really enjoyed that game. So that's another one that's perfect for both for casuals and hardcores. She beat that game to completion. I think it took me between 8 to 12 hours. That's per class. So it has quite a bit of replay value if you are interested in trying the different play styles to your enjoyment. And all in all, it is a good time. Yeah, and that's it. That's 10 games I would recommend for the PS2 that are below $10. Um, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed it, and put down in the comments what you would think are some amazing games that you can get on the cheap. Thank you much for your time, and I will see you in another video. Bye bye.